Hello everybody. I'm going to sit down and get comfortable for this. No, apart from that Black & Decker's not very comfortable right there. Oh, up the bum. Everybody's probably by now seen Andy in the Off-Grid Garage's video about the JK BMS. There's other YouTubers that I follow as well, one being the Digital Mermaid. She's got her knickers in a right twist. Battery's flat on the doodah. She's got her knickers in the right twist, and so has a lot of people in Andy's comments, and in the Digital Mermaid's comments, and in another couple of YouTube channels. They're acting like during the Bud Light fiasco, and they're wanting to burn their old JK BMSs at the stake. My experiences with this is my JK BMSs and my very first bunch of cells that I bought from Fogstar was back in November 22, right? The first lot of cells I had them all wired up, and I charged them up with my power supply, so they're all wired in series up to the 48 volts, whatever, with going through the JK BMS, and I used my power supply to charge them up most of the way, and then did the old capacity testing on them with the cheapy Chinese AliExpress battery testers, you know, the ones with the fan on the top. The grade A cells were damaged. There was a couple of wonky terminals. The threads on the terminals were oversized and very slack and wobbly, and as an engineer I didn't fucking like that. So they got sent back and I got a full refund, blah blah blah. Period of time later I bought the grade Bs. Another period of time later, here we are. I fired them up. That one there had been sat for a year, from November, December 2022 up until New Year's Eve. All right, and that one there had kept all of its memory. It had kept what I'd renamed it as, all the settings, everything that was in there. That I've since had to change. So don't panic about the old style BMS. Mine sat for a year back in the cardboard box, absolutely tickety-boo, no problem whatsoever. It's the new style of BMS that is the problem, and if anybody that rushes out and buys the latest and greatest unproven technology, whether it's a BMS or a brand new motorcycle, you're foolhardy and naive if you think that there ain't going to be problems, customer complaints, failures in the field, engineering revision changes at the design stage and drawing stage. Wait until especially if it's a safety critical item, wait until it is proven and has a long history, because like I ride motorcycles. There's two motorcycles in particular that I bought in the last few years. One of them was the KTM RC390, the other one was a Royal Enfield Himalayan, both of which were well up on my desire list, but they had shocking early reliability problems with mechanical problems and electrical gremlins. So I waited and waited and waited and waited and waited, and then there was a facelift, revision changes, blah blah blah, and they looked like they had sorted all of their problems out, you know. So the old style are fine. So I said the old style were fine. Mine kept its history, memory throughout the year. From now onwards is going to be the mark of a company that they've got a safety critical quality concern out in the field. Now is the acid test of a company how they deal with the problem. It was my employment history of being a quality engineer, and it is one that I do not want to go back to, with the amount of revision changes that there are to mechanical or electrical. It is just ridiculous. And then there's always going to be that crossover period of revision changes where they're trying to clear the old stock, bringing in the new stock. There's a crossover period, and that is just a whole new can of worms for opportunities of failure. So everybody just needs to calm the fuck down, really. And this is a message to Carl in the old comments. Where are we? 2 seconds. Oh, where's the max amps that I pulled? There it is. I did it again. We had a lovely sunny day yesterday, and I had the batteries on charge through a 3-pin plug, and I forgot about it, started cooking. So this is a 13 amp socket, and I pulled 21.48 amps through it. How I don't blow 13 amp fuses, I don't know. I blew a 10 amp fuse, so I might go back to 10 amp. But yeah, 21.48 amps out of a 13 amp plug socket. Excuse solar array thingies. Oh, So going back to when I had my Litto Carla and the grey inverter was on, a fucking mess. Grey inverter was out there and the Litto Carlas were on there. I was doing the same thing and charging the battery through the 3-pin plug socket. There was one occasion where I forgot that it was on charge, so it was pulling whatever I was charging. I started cooking with a 2-ring countertop oven, and that draws 3 kilowatts. I was using all of it. Mum rocks up, puts the tumble dryer on. That was running for a good little while, and then the penny dropped with an almighty fucking clang that this was still plugged in and on charge, and it didn't blow the fuse. 13 amp fuse, God knows how much I had running through it, and it's welded in there. Yes. So don't be like me. Try and do things a little bit properly. Look after yourselves and each other. Remember, keep calm and carry on.